Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 59 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we have the much awaited final release of update 59. So everything we've been working on in the alpha. There's still a few bugs, a few hitches, a few things that are still disabled and needing to be worked on, but I needed to basically wrap this up enough to get us onto the main branch so that you folks can enjoy Return of the Rotwieners next week. We'll talk about that in a bit though. We're going to start off with our new toys. We've got a beautiful set of vz58s thanks to a 3D artist I met named Merrick. Let us start off and see what we have here. So to begin with, we have ourselves a vz58p. This is our sort of full stocked version. If you haven't checked out a vz58 yet, it's rifle I hadn't really paid a bunch of attention to until getting these, but has wormed its way into my heart. It's got some featured. It feels kind of like, I don't know, a bit SKS, a bit AKM, but it's its own thing. So we're going to pop a 30 rounder in there, pull our bolt back there, pull this up, rock that onto full. Wonderful. Wonderful. What's beautiful about these is, much like an SKS, we can actually top them off with stripper clips. Delightful. Delightful. Just look at you. You are beautiful. Thank you so very much, Merrick, for these. I am thoroughly enjoying them. Next up, we've got the vz58v, which is our sort of like paratrooper version. We've got a side fold-out stock for it. Otherwise the same. Wonderful, wonderful. Put that there. Pop you over here. We've got a sport version, which I'll grab a small mag for this. This is basically like our civilian version of it. It's got more of like a, polymer furniture in stock. This one is semi-auto only. As many of you know, I've been adding in as many sort of civvy guns as possible, so that they really fit with the environment of Return of the Rotwieners. So yeah, semi-auto only, 10 rounder, which does make it perfect for just topping up with clips and just rolling with just one magazine attached in it, which I love doing. Beautiful. So you've got you. Next up, we've got a bit of a ridiculous one. We basically have a crink version of it. Super duper compact. There is a stock mount here, so I guess if you want to turn this back into a stocked weapon, you most certainly can. Just look at it. Look at it. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how you would hold this safely in real life. So kicks like a mule, especially one-handed. It's just sort of uncontrollable. Great if you want to put a whole bunch of rounds through the ceiling, but in terms of compactness, this definitely competes with our KWG for power per like square or cubic inch of volume. Oh, that's so much fun. I just love it. It's just ridiculous. And then last off, for all of you folks who are like, oh, those are so cool, 1158, I want a railed version. Well, we've got the vz58 custom here. We've got top rail, bottom rail there, and another back rail here. And these are actually offset each way height-wise, so you could even throw a laser on the top without blocking your sight picture for these. And we got this cool ambi bolt at the top. I love the way that looks. And that nice cutout in the Picatinny rail, so we can still aim with our irons. Had a brass fall on us there. Beautiful. Beautiful. So there you have it. These are in today and looking fine, but that's not the only new toy. Let's jump over to the proving ground and take a look at the other wonderful thing that I got working this week. So we are over in the proving ground taking a look at the other thing that I worked on this past week on top of all of the stuff for Wieners, which yeah, it's been some long days, which is fire, or rather the beginnings of it. It still isn't the most cohesive system architecturally. I've got a whole bunch of things patched together between like old things that can light things on fire, new things, etc., and not that many things can be ignited yet, but that is going to change. But I got SOSIGs working with it as well as a couple of related items. So let's start off by loading ourselves up with some Dragon's Breath. Finally, our sort of incendiary ammunition will also now have an extra property to it. So let's spawn ourselves some SOSIGs here. And so basically the way that being on fire works with the SOSIGs is if it's at the torso or lower links, it functions more as a sort of damage over time. If it is hitting them in the head because it's doing a larger amount of damage, they're basically, as long as they're on fire, they're not going to get back up. They're sort of stun locked, if you will. So we'll do this just with Dragon's Breath here. It even works when they're armored. So you can see that he's now on fire, taking some damage over time, and it goes out pretty quickly. I didn't want this to be like absolutely overpowering, so you're only ever using fire ammo. It's more like a value add, or if you get stuck with these and taken hold. But if we hit them, oh, that just blew his head off.
Dang it.
There we go. Much more effective there. So they might stand up, they might not, based upon the amount of damage they take. That time he didn't ignite, so it's not 100%. Everything related to fire has a whole bunch of randomization in it to sort of help model the sort of chaos of how likely something is to ignite, how much damage it's going to do, etc. What's cool though is that any kind of ammunition that is incendiary can ignite things that can be ignited. So let's move on to the thing that you're really waiting to see, which is like, all right, Anton, you got the fire working. Did you get a Molotov working? And the answer is, you betcha. This is Frank's fantastic, festively fragrant, and fiercely flavorful fancy fire fluid. Thanks so much, Lucas. It's perfect. Let's pull our Zippo out. Remember, with the Zippo, you don't if you're having trouble on touch controllers, getting things to work with the thumbstick, you can just brush your other hand by it if it wants to. There we go. It's more like the palm, I guess, to get that lit. So let's spawn lock that. We can ignite our wick. Ooh, look, that's pretty. We can see it actually. We get some flickers on things. Whee! And let's throw it, because this will actually explode after about 20 or 30 seconds like a real one, if you just hold it. Oh! There it goes. Whole bunch of them getting on fire. So the spread for them is pretty random. Sometimes you'll get a very, very localized thing. Sometimes it'll be way wider. Sound isn't quite right on that. I'm still working on it.
Jinkies.
Sounds a little more like an explosion. Part of it's just the amount of time I've had working on things, haven't been able to polish. But super fun. We can actually chuck it against walls, and we can actually we got some spread up there and down there. So there's a good amount of chaos to it. And of course, we can use them like a melee weapon. Just come up here and just smack one into one, back off. The wick on the one in my quick belt can totally be ignited, so you got to be careful with them. Ha! Oh goodness! Oh, that's at my feet. I literally hit it against the back wall there. Real good, Anton. Real good. There they have it. I'm eventually going to add some SOSIG lines just for the fire. There'll just be a whole bunch of like grilling jokes and puns. Right now they just do their regular "oh darn it" emotes and things like that. And I definitely want some purpose-specific ones just for this, because I'm sure they find this situation as ridiculous as we do.
Oh dear.
Aw, dear.
Jinkies.
Aw, jinkies. So there you have it. So that is fireworking. And you might be asking, like, okay, well, oh goodness, that would be me lighting the one in my quick belt accidentally. Gotta be careful with the fire. Let's close that so we don't do that accidentally. But if you say have these on the ground as well, you can almost sort of use them as like improvised mines, as long as you have either if they're already lit or if you're firing a type of ammo that can ignite things. These should just pop. Oh. What is going on here? There we go. There we go.
Oh, why me? Zowie.
So you can pull those out like
Oh,
that.
goodness.
As I mentioned before, the other incendiary damage does something now. So like if we pull out like a 74 U here and come over here and get it some incendiary ammo. This isn't even API. This is just FMJ that is incendiary. Oh, that one that had been ignited finally went off on its own. We actually get a bunch of ignition to add on. So our incendiary ammo types now are effectively a combo of instant damage and damage over time, which can make them effective even in situations where you're fighting against, say, level 3 armor. It's just effective in a different way than if you're rocking like AP or API. But, oh, you know what? I grabbed the wrong mag. I was like, wait a minute. Something's wrong here. There we go.
Oh, darn it.
Oh, goodness. He's at my feet. Gotta be careful with that fire. So, yeah. And I think if we're real careful... Up! We just blow it up in our hand, apparently. Ooh! And I was able to... Oh, goodness! The one on my belt's on fire again.
No, dear.
So you can light them wieners up!
Oh, dear.
Like never before. So yeah, so that's really part one, the darker part of some grilling that we have. I'm gonna jump over to our Rotwiener scene now and show you how that's coming and talk about stuff like release window, what's gonna be available on launch, and what's gonna be added after. So we are over in the Return of the Rotwiener scene, and I wanted to go ahead and show off a couple things that are really fun and working on. I'm keeping most of what's going on sort of secret until we actually have sort of like a launch video ready for it and such. But I want to show off two systems. The one of which is, that's right, after almost 3 years, H3 has some grilling in it. So that's right, check out that gorgeous looking grill, courtesy of Stefan. But before we do that, we're going to go talk to one of the NPCs that is in this mode. A very friendly fellow. We're going to come over here. Apologies for the jitteriness of this. I'm recording this in the Unity editor, so it runs like crap. So when we see an NPC, we have this little icon above their head that allows us to initiate a conversation with them.
Howdy.
Hopefully you can hear his voice. I have the game audio turned down for recording, so I'll just try to be really quiet.
Dustin Weiner at your service. I'm working on my doctoral thesis documenting the flora of the Wienerton Hills area. The plant life here is deeply fascinating. Did you know there are no less than 5 unique species found just in this square kilometer? Who would have thought that Wienerton could be so interesting? Well, other than the zombies. What's that about anyway?
So then once you've introduced yourself to an NPC, you've got a set of things. They might have a quest for you, which will be a magnifying glass there, and they can have some additional information for you about mechanics, about different sorts of things around the area. So Dustin here tells us about our various plants that are in the environment, as well as meat cores, which are part of one of the, part of all of the crafting in this mode. So we won't keep talking to him for now. Instead, we're going to come over here and we're going to take a look at, I've placed these here just for demonstration purposes. We have the 5 different plants that are in the mode: ketchup leaf, mustard willow, prickly pickle, giant blue raspberry, and deadly eggplant, which is some of the things that we collect. So I'm going to grab some of these here. In fact, I think there might have been a ketchup leaf plant in the wild here. Then I'm gonna go quickly grab this because I want to actually craft something that is a single color. Boop. Those grow back eventually and obviously reset with each run. They're in different places each time, available in different rarities based on what part of the map you're on. So once we do that, we have to use that and a meat core. These pop out of our special rot wieners and are used for things. And we can go over to Dustin's place here and use his meat packerator. And what we basically do is we put our herb in. It takes 2 herbs and a meat core to make something from it. It lets you know what colors you use. Use 2 of the same color and you'll get one of our classic 5 power-ups. Mix them up and you'll get something different. And that's all I'm saying about that now. Boop! Pop that in. I accidentally tapped the grind button. So we have an uncooked wiener. So let's come on over to our grill here. Beautiful. Oh. Let's put that in our pocket. We got to take the grill grate off for a second. Balance that there. Come over to our charcoal bag. Get ourselves some briquettes. This never runs out. We need our flambe lighter fluid and some strike anywhere matches. So let's come over here. We'll keep the lighter fluid away from the fire. We'll build ourselves a little pile of briquettes very nicely. Pull our lighter fluid out. Got to actually saturate them so we can light them. Get the lighter fluid away from the grill. Click our touchpad there to open up our matches. And I'm so bad at this, especially running at not full frame rate from recording. There we go. Drop that in. Beautiful. Got some fire going. Let's pick up our grill grate, pop that on. Put our wiener down. Close the grill. Ding! And it's done. And we have for ourselves a health power-up. And so this is how you will make power-ups for yourself in this mode. So you'll collect valuable herbs, use them for this. The herbs can actually be used in 2 other sets of items. So you'll have to make decisions based on whether you're going on more of a sort of power-up sausage build, on more of like a baiting and trapping build, or more of an improvised explosive build in terms of how you use the herbs you collect. Nom, 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 nom. Delightful. So yeah, so that's about as much as I'm going to show off about this mode at the moment, especially because I'm in the middle of fixing a couple things. Let's jump out of VR now and talk about release window stuff.
Yo! Very tired Anton here, and I am still chugging along on things, getting this mode together, so it's so weird to be as exhausted as I am right now and still be having just as much fun as I have. I've shown you folks on here just the tiniest slice of the mode. Folks watching the Twitch have gotten to see a bit more, but still very little of what is actually in this, because I want as much as possible of it to be a surprise for folks when it releases. So let's talk about release windows for Rot Wieners. I was originally going to release on Monday, but I had a crippling Unity bug rob me of almost the entirety of yesterday and a whole bunch of my energy. It was just panic-inducing. It was the sort of crash where the app just hangs and you can't get debug information and things like that. And it ended up not being my code, but an internal system causing it. So instead, my current plan is to release the mode on Halloween at 11 a.m. PST, which I think would be like 8 p.m. for those of you in Europe. So that is the current plan on Halloween day. It will not be the entirety of the mode. I will have some late game areas blocked off because they won't be where I need them to be, and I won't have enough time to have them fully tested. But the first huge chunk of the game will totally be playable, and I think you'll all be able to get a whole lot of fun out of it. It's big. It's big. It's difficult. It is. It's as I've mentioned before. It's a roguelite structure. You're gonna die. You're expected to die. But the quests, and like say Dustin, who we just talked to, if we bring back herbs for his quest, those are persistent. So you only have to do that once, and then you get the various rewards from the NPCs based on doing those quests, and those will be sort of perma unlocks that you can then use to equip yourself and use in future runs as you work your way towards the ending, and that will include fast travel points. Anyway, I'll more of that will be clear in future videos. I'm probably going to release like a tips and tricks video as well for those of you who are just jumping into the game or are rusty with some of the sort of mechanics, especially because it's a limited ammo mode, just to make things a little smoother without ruining anything. So, I think I'm going to take a nap while this video is rendering. So yeah, so update 59 full blown is going back onto the main branch tonight at 7 p.m. PST. If you want to just stay on the alpha branch, you can. I'll push it to both. And then Rotwieners on Halloween day. I hope many of you will be around to give it a shot for the first time. I hope it doesn't crash too much. It's been exhausting, folks. It has been exhausting. So, but super fun. I will leave you now. I need to run right back to work. I still need to like load those vz58s into the item spawner and such for tonight's update. But yeah, over the weekend while you're playing with it, by all means, play with the new toys, play with the new fire system. Let me know what you think. I'm especially interested in what your thoughts are from a balance ratio. It's difficult with something chaotic that can spread, like fire, making it powerful and interesting, but not so dominating that you would just want to use it instead of everything else. So I've tried to make it enjoyably chaotic and dangerous. So I'm super curious what your thoughts are. So yeah. Anywho, hope you all have a wonderful weekend playing around with the new toys. I will be here death marching out this mode by hell or high water. So be well. Peace.